brilliant to be here at Croydon Hospital to see the great work of the doctors and nurses here. One of the priorities for my government is going to be tackling the COVID backlogs and supporting the NHS. And what's going on here actually is a fantastic example of what's possible because of the way they're doing things here differently. Elective activity is now even higher than it was before COVID. And look, we face lots of challenges as a country, but I am confident that we can fix the economy and deliver on the promise of the 2019 manifesto, including having a stronger NHS. And while I'm here, it's important for me to say to anyone who's eligible, please remember to go and get your COVID and flu jabs.
You talk about fixing things. How much of a mess did Liz Truss leave the nation's finances in? There's talk of a £50 billion black hole.
Well, I acknowledge that mistakes have been made, and part of why I'm now Prime Minister is my job is to fix them, and I'm confident that we can. The Chancellor's already said, of course, difficult decisions are going to have to be made, and I'm going to sit down and work through those with him. But what I want everyone to know is that we need to do these things so that we can get our borrowing and debt back on a sustainable path. That's important because it means that we can get a grip of inflation if we do that. It means we can limit as best as possible the increase in interest rates, which is important. But as we do that, I want people to be reassured we will always do it with fairness at the heart. We will protect the most vulnerable and ensure that we can continue to grow the economy in the long run.
Why do you think it's more important for you to stay here and supervise the work of the Chancellor rather than going to COP27?
Well, look, I'm really proud, as everyone should be, about our record on tackling climate change, and particularly with regard to COP. I think everyone will remember that last year we hosted one of the most significant COPs in recent time, and that was important because what we did there was set the targets and the roadmap for the world to follow if we're going to meet our climate ambitions. And I think actually everyone should also be really proud of how we're doing. We're one of the countries that has decarbonised the fastest. We now get over half our energy from zero carbon sources. We passed a landmark law to protect the environment, and under my government we're going to continue to deliver on all of those things.
Labour say it's a massive failure of leadership.
No, the leadership that we have shown on the climate is unmatched almost along the world. If you look at what we've done in this country, we're an example for others to follow at the pace in which we've reduced climate emissions, how we're going about protecting our environment, and those things are really important to me. It's important to me that as Prime Minister we leave behind an environment that is better for our children and grandchildren. I'm very passionate about that. I'm very personally committed to it, and I just think at the moment it's right that I'm also focusing on the depressing domestic challenges we have with the economy, and I think that's what people watching would reasonably expect me to be doing as well.
Did officials warn you not to reappoint Suella Braverman?
I think that the Home Secretary has acknowledged the mistake. She's recognised she made a mistake. She's taken accountability for that, and that's the right thing. Now, as I said in Parliament earlier this week, she raised this topic with me when I discussed reappointing her as Home Secretary, and I'm confident that she's learned from her mistake.
You don't have any regrets?
No, I said she's accepted her mistake and learned from it, and I'm confident of that. And what I do want people to know is, look, I and the Home Secretary are very focused on delivering for them, and that means we want to cut crime, we want to be tough on criminals, we want our streets to be safer for our families, and we want our borders to be defended, particularly against illegal migration. These are all really important priorities for the new government, and that's what I want the Home Secretary to be focused on, and that's what she's going to deliver.
Briefly, we've had 5 Prime Ministers in the last 6 years. In 2016, we voted to leave the European Union. Do you think that instability has anything to do with Brexit, or is it that there's a continuous civil war in the Tory party that is never going to be resolved?
I'm confident that our party is united. It's united behind delivering on the promise of the manifesto that we were elected on, with very strong support in 2019. What does that manifesto say? It says that we want to have a stronger NHS, that we want safer streets, that we want better schools, that we want to protect our borders, and that we want to level up the economy across our country. That's what unites and excites all Conservatives. That's what excites me, and that's what I want to deliver for the people of this country.